Good afternoon, friends. Today we are at the summit organized by King's Infra. They've launched this SISTA 360. We have the gentleman from overseas, Mr. Martin. He works for a company, Snowcap. So we'll give it to Marty and he would tell us about his company and about what they were here for. So.
Thank you so much. So we are partner to King's Infra in helping them and this new product that they launched, how to become more sustainable. And what we do is we try to help the companies first to understand how they affect people and the planet. And then we look at what is the new changes in the world which is becoming more unsustainable. Will that affect the company? What do they need to do in order to remain competitive and profitable in a changing world? And we use normally existing data from different systems and create these pictures. So the reason why we can do it here in India is that we're very fast and cost effective.
I want to know, today India holds as a global leader, second. We are second. We are not talking about the number one leader, whoever is there. So as India today, what do you see with our Prime Minister Modi's vision? We had the G20 presidency. There were a lot of things on sustainable development goals, and we are doing a lot of work. Our different departments, our different ministries are, working around the clock.
Yeah.
So how do you see India's story?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, India is immensely important for the world. First of all, it's the largest population in the world.
Yes.
And it's growing. It's got a very young population as well. And it's been stated that you would probably require an 8% growth year on year for quite many years to come up to the same standard as Europe or US, for example. If that's going to happen, it has to happen in a sustainable way. Otherwise, the negative effects will be so big on the planet.
That's what I wanted you to elaborate if you want to.
So, this will drive innovation in India. I'm fairly sure you're a very tech-savvy country. There's a huge potential here to create new innovative solutions. And I will also say that India, by heritage, is a cost-conscious and also a resource-conscious population and country. So we see a lot of new innovation being driven from India in the area of sustainability. It's also important to, of course, to understand that in the context of how different countries react to different countries from a political perspective, that also affects the trading cycles, yes, right? How trade is going. And India's become a lot in favor over the last couple of years, and that is shaping here a much larger supply chain base. But in order for that supply chain base to export to Europe or US, for example, there are new regulations coming up the whole time. We have a CSRD, which is the new reporting framework in Europe that will affect even farmers in India. You have the Deforestation Act, that you can't use product from land that was deforested after 2020. So that also have an impact on your country. You have the carbon border adjustment mechanism, meaning that any product that enters Europe has to have the same cost of carbon as if it was produced in Europe. And that's quite a lot in the news here in India right now.
Sure, sir. I think it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
And now we'll invite the chairman from King's Infra. So we'll take a break and thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, this is Sanjay Agrawal. I have Shaji Baby John with us. So today we have this very energetic opening and the launch of SISTA 360. So it's now to the CMD of King's Infra, because we are talking about aquaculture, and the India has the potential to be the global leader. So we were discussing it's going to be 2030. The conference was supposed to be addressed by Purushottam Rupolaji, but he had to fly to Rome. So sir will just tell us the main points for takeaway of today's first half, sir.
See, the most important development of today is the participation of the premier research institutions of this country. And Dr. J.K. Jena, the Deputy Director General, Fisheries, that is the top scientist in India, and under whom all the research institutions like SIBA, CIFT, all of them are sister organizations of ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. The Director General being with us from the beginning of the session and having live interaction with farmers and their problems and how to take this industry to the next level. That was a very great positive, and due to certain unavoidable circumstances in the last moment, the minister had to go to for a trip to Europe, which was planned for 10 days back. But because of the parliament session, that got pushed because the meeting dates were given by the minister, according to his diary for 25th of September. That was given to us about 1.5 months back. But in between, the parliament session has come. So
We had a special session this
because of the special session, and because of that, immediately after the special session, he got the instruction from the PMO, or he got the approval from the PMO, and he had to leave immediately. So he left on Sunday, that is yesterday. So, but anyway, the entire scientific community, the international delegates, and our honorable MP from Kollam, who is one of the senior most MPs in the Lok Sabha. You can always see him in the presidium. Yeah, Mr. N.K. Prabchandran. He comes from Kollam, which is where the fisheries itself, the mechanized fishing under the Indo-Norwegian project was launched, in Kochi and Kollam and 2-3 other harbors across India in the late 50s. So, and my father was associated with that. He was a local member of the local assembly, and at that time there were no takers for fishing because it was considered a bad omen to go into the seas. So, in a meeting held by the Norwegian people, when the business people showed some reluctance regarding going into the sea, my father, who was presiding on the meeting, said, "It is good for our people and our community, so I am willing to invest my personal money and start the first, mechanized fishing." So it started from there, and the origin of Kings is also from there.
That's really nice, and we also happened to meet your good friend from Khalij Times, the editorial director. He's here on the trip to India, and he was here, and he's going to be. He was also talking. We were talking to him also. If you want to say some words of, for him.
Yeah, Mr. Isaac John Pataniparambil. Today he is the managing editor of Khalij Times, which is the highest post any Indian has ever gone to in Khalij Times and even in the Middle East in the journalistic field. So he is also an enthusiast for, he has been a business, starting his career as a business journalist and growing to the level of the business director and then managing editor. He is one of the most connected Indians, who is connected to every maybe state president, prime minister of so many countries and so many Middle East. And he has always been a proponent of Indo-Arab friendship and bilateral trade and food security of the Middle East. They have huge concerns regarding food security, and India can integrate into that supply chain. Already we have Lulu Group, who are almost 10,000 crores of agri and aqua products they are sourcing from India. That is just one group. Like that, there are hundreds of groups who are interested, provided we give the traceability and the conform to sustainability practices. We can get all the big global groups, put Indian product on a shelf. Right now, Indian product is going only as a commodity to some reprocessors in Vietnam or some other country or even in the host country, and the reprocessors are processing it and then they are putting the product on the shelf, on the retail shelf at the high-end retail chains. With this effort, we hope to get our product right up there. That cutting out at least 3 to 4 intermediaries in between. That's where the value chain will develop, and that is where through the SISTA being a transparent platform, the benefits will seep down right to the smallest producer who is having 1 acre of land anywhere in a far out place. They will have the price discovery can happen through SISTA exchange. So they can even sell forward through SISTA exchange. That if they have a crop coming up after 2 months, and the buyers in the exchange can say that, okay, I want this product at this size on such and such a date, and they can do a matchmaking.
Yes.
That is going to be one of the biggest takeaways of this.
Sure, sir. I think I think we should thank you, sir. And we also met Isaac John, who said that Indo-UAE, UAE is always looking up, like you said, from India. They're importing so much. And then we also spoke to your consultants from Snowcap, Mr. Martin, who's come in. So he was also quite upbeat. And he said there are some concerns he also expressed, but those are global concerns as Europe, because India we have to meet those standards. So it's a welcome, and I wish you all the success for this conference, today's seminar, and I hope that it's now going to be an annual event.
Yeah, and I also want to put one more point, which is the best takeaway, is that right now $7 billion exports of shrimps from India is depending on mostly on single species, where the broodstock has to come from South America. But in India, we have similar or better species, but they have not been developed as a broodstock bank. Now, Central Institute of Brackish-water Aquaculture, SIBA, is being asked by the ministry to develop India's own indigenous broodstocks, which will be much more resilient and conducive in the Indian market, and will be the Indian alternative to the Pacific white shrimp or the Chinese breeds which are today ruling the market. And this is where we put our whole hope, and we are so happy that the SIBA has identified a King's Infra as their partner in this prestigious project of taking the Indian breeds and developing them and placing them in the global market.
We also met the person who has come in from Chennai, from SIBA. Yeah. So he's also asked us to visit Chennai. And I would just at the end of it put it that the Blue Revolution, which Shaji John has his father and everybody, who is into this kind of a revolution. So the Blue Revolution is now on, and we are looking for more and more researchers, students who should get into this kind of business. So they should, the institutes would formally have these courses. So that'll be one area of concern, but that should be tackled, sir.
And we want to take this to every village in India.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
We want to take this to every village in India, so that they can produce more nutritious, better proteins for our younger generation also who are growing up.
Thank you, sir. This is Sanjay Agrawal signing off.